So that's me, and you may be wondering how I found myself in this position. My AD is basically off the screen, and I'm just 2v1ing the enemy ADC in support. Surely this is a terrible trade, right? What if I told you it's actually not, and this misposition is what caused us to hard stomp this lane just moments later? Are there tons of times where positioning like this would be absolutely griefing? Yeah, but knowing the difference between when it's grief or insanely good can completely separate you from other supports. Today we're going to be giving you the one rule that you need in order to massively improve your trading as a support, and multiply your impact on games immediately. Let's get right to it. By the way, we just created a brand new custom course specifically for this guide at skillcap.com. It's there you can unlock over 6 site exclusive guides where we walk you through exactly how to implement this trading strategy so you can win lane and climb the ladder. Find out more along with the discount code at the end of the guide. We're going to take a deeper dive into that karma game and break it down. One of the questions that you should always be asking in your games is, what is my advantage? In this specific instance, I've noticed something that most players will fail to capitalize on. Fiddle isn't starting at red, and this gives me the absolutely massive advantage of just not having to leash. When this happens, lots of players will try to stay hidden in order to fake where their jungler starts. To address that point, do you really think your opponents are even paying attention to it? Definitely not. And your jungler, well, they won't capitalize on it either. I'm sure we all know that too. On the flip side, maybe you don't realize that not leashing can literally win a lane single-handedly. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why? And we'll get to that. When you think of a trade, the most common thing that comes to mind is trading health. You go in, you delete their HP bar, and boom, profit. There are 2 main issues with this idea, but let's talk about the first one. We don't always trade to win health. In fact, that's far from the most important resource sometimes. Oftentimes, we'll trade to win space, mana, time, or other things. Almost everything in League of Legends can be thought of as a resource, and we need to have this mindset in order to have effective trades. Of course, getting free HP like this is nice, but you won't be able to do that in every game, nor is it the real advantage of not having to leash. At this point, what we're really fighting over is space. Think of this wave behind me as the holy grail of resources. It's XP, gold, everything. So when I think about, for example, trading my health away to potentially stop them from walking to it, it could be a good trade. When the enemies have to leash, I can just claim all of the area in the lane as my own. If they want to reclaim it, they have to work for it, and it's much harder to take back area that's already been taken. The reason why I'm in this bush in the first place is because I wanted as much space as possible, and now I'm going to fight over that space. The enemy bot lane walking like this is greedy, and if Caitlyn had at any point felt like clicking on them here, I was down to keep trading away. The idea is that we can potentially zone them off of XP. If they can't get to the wave, then no holy grail for them. Even if we can't get the last hits during the fight, we can be in XP range and they won't be. At this point, XP is way more important than gold. An average level up is worth about 550 gold in stats, and a wave about just 100. When it takes less than 2 waves to level up in the early game, the math just checks out that XP is super important, and our opponents crying as minions die in front of them is just music to my ears. Even if we happen to trade away health evenly, we'd be gaining another resource, and our opponents can't say the same. This is the second issue with thinking of trading only in terms of health. You'll forget all about the other things that you stand to gain, and that's actually the rule. You need to trade with a purpose. If you can identify what resource you're actually fighting over, it's much easier to see if what you're trading is worth it. This probably seems stupidly simple, so let's elaborate on it. Even though Caitlyn unfortunately lets them walk back to the wave here, I can still trade for other things. And that really int position I was in earlier actually got me exactly what I wanted. Look at how much space I gained. Because our opponents were focused on hitting me and not the wave, Caitlyn got to last hit and use her cooldowns on the wave. I lost HP in the process, but I was really fighting for control of that wave this whole time. I wasn't just trying to do damage for free. Listen into what I was saying here. What's really important here is that they could potentially miss XP. And like I said, we're gonna have a pushing wave here, so because we have control of the wave like this, I wanna trade my health. So I'm gonna be like aggressively posturing here. Even if I go 100 HP for 100 HP, it's definitely good for me. Because after 3 waves or so, I'm just gonna recall. and they can't really do the same thing. So, okay, so there's one really important thing that I want to bring attention to. It's understanding the value of wave control. Not only can I get an early recall off with wave control, it's going to make all that health I spent earlier basically free. If I know that I'm going to base anyways, I should think of my health as an expendable resource. Why wouldn't I want to spend 99% of it if it all comes back anyways? Meanwhile, when we're crashing the wave and basing to heal, the enemies can't do the same. If they want to recall without missing anything, they're going to need to push out potentially the next 2 waves or so. And if I traded health with them evenly, utilizing all of that resource, how exactly do they do that without just dying to us? I mean, the answer is that they can't. Additionally, I also know my jungler can path bottom, and theirs will likely path away. Even if I don't recall, trading health is still good because of this. Ganks get a lot stronger when everyone is closer to death, and that makes 100 health of mine not worth the same as 100 health of theirs. Do not be afraid to lose health or resources, if what you stand to gain is that much more valuable. Challenger players do not just get things for free when they smurf. They're just smart about what resources they choose to spend in trade. In this instance, I was happy to trade health for wave control because it gave me another huge advantage that our opponents were unaware of. Level 2. I'm gonna walk up, should be a free kill here, or a flash. So while just turning 25 today has apparently taken away my ability to push my R key and save my flash, it's clear that this is extremely winning regardless, and ultimately me being willing to use my HP bar as leverage nets us a kill and sets the game up to be a total stomp. Let's look at the next game that I played right after this, and you can see me basically do the same thing. This doesn't just apply to when you don't leash and the opponent does, because, well, neither bot lane actually leashed here. But you can see that our opponents did not take their time and opportunity to claim the space around the minions, and let's just see how that plays out for them. And I'm just gonna take all this space right here and just zone them off. I want to trade health here. I'm very happy to do it. So, really just making them work super hard to walk back to lane. And that, honestly, I'm gonna stand in front of here to block. That honestly is a perfect example of why knowing what you're supposed to do in the lane is really helpful. Okay, I know that everyone's going to say, what if my opponents don't walk that way? But that's not really the point. Let's go later on in the VOD for a different kind of example. At this point, we're actually losing as a team. Lee Sin just took Dragon, and now Ahri is able to just walk in and take my pink ward and Tri-Brush. With the imminent threat of a gank, I really can't do much about it, and trading now just to potentially get myself ganked or dove makes no sense. Until now. I just charm me from the bush. Okay, now that I see Lee Sin, more okay. Can trade back evenly there, and not give her this for free. One of the worst things you can do is not trade back. I really didn't care about face tanking an Ahri charm because I'm Soraka with bone plating, and I'll just regen it back. Look at where my cursor is when I get charmed. I see way too many people just look to run here, but you have to fight back and not give up your HP for free. Remember, it's called trading for a reason, not giving. I only had a tiny window here to get another pink down because Lee could stop showing on map any second. I needed to fight over control of my Tri-Brush. It was insanely important for me to have that vision to not only not get ganked, but also enable my own jungler. You'll see the payoff of this almost immediately, as Kayn is able to go through that pink and score us a kill. Once again, knowing what I was fighting over gave me a reason to lose my health. I knew that trading evenly in terms of HP actually benefit us because I was getting control. We can look later on in the Karma game as well. My Caitlyn nets in and eats an Ashe arrow. So now, what should my goal be? I could chase after the low HP Senna and finish her off, but in doing so our Caitlyn probably loses this 1v1. Just like always, I need to think about my purpose here. We're already ahead. I don't need to kill the Senna and risk a 1-for-1 when going even on gold or potentially giving a shutdown from ahead is just bad. What I care about is control of the wave, control of vision, and control of river. I don't want to give Ashe the freedom to just run at my AD, so I'm going to trade for all of those things. I immediately start running at Ashe. I need to create the space for Caitlyn to move and not have to deal with someone who can fight her. I actually needed to retreat from Ashe because I couldn't just tank her damage the whole time, but I did succeed in accomplishing my goal, and that's what matters.
Caitlyn kills Senna moments later because that was the 1v1 she could handle, and I was willing to throw my HP away to buy the space to make it happen.
I did solo kill her because I'm fed, but even if I weren't, I would have done the same thing, just probably would have kept running instead of turning. But because I prioritized playing for control of space, we would have gotten this tower regardless of those kills. We could have chunked them out, maintained access to the wave, and pushed it to a siege. If we look at literally any game, you'll be able to apply this concept. In this one, my team gets invaded early on and plays it pretty bad. I whiff hook, enemy Vayne gets first blood on my Lucian, it's not great. Vayne is recalling in the bush, and if I do hook her, I clearly will not win the 1v1, but I do it anyways. I'm sure a lot of you are probably catching on by now, but I'm thinking of more than just the health at face value. Yes, I lose more HP, and she has lifesteal, but in doing so, I can make it so that she cannot spend first blood gold, which overall matters a lot more. This game was an absolute fiesta, and these kills don't really change much of what I would have done. Making Vayne lose health and not base is just good if we're going to be fighting over control of the wave in a bit anyways. But once again, I got so much value out of trading for things other than my health. My HP was relatively worthless in this entire event. I'm a melee champion and most of the time my Q is down. I'm not contributing much, so what I can contribute is my health bar to buy other things. We need to see League as an exchange of resources. When we stop viewing trades as simply HP comparisons, you get to start making plays that are way more consistent, and you'll catch your enemies off guard a lot more often. And if you want to take your trading to the next level, you'll need our brand new custom course specifically made for this guide at skillcap.com. It's there you can unlock over 6 site exclusive guides where we walk you through exactly how to implement this trading strategy so you can win lane and climb the ladder. That's not all though. With our brand new course page, it's as simple as clicking support, then selecting the trading category. And just like that, you have 6 courses with over 50 unique guides breaking down exactly how to win trades as a support. Best part, all of this is risk-free with our rank improvement guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Head to skillcap.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Discount link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.